is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good to have you on this Wednesday night edition of Sports Talk after a beautiful day in South Carolina. Hey, it was almost 50 degrees in New York today. Already looking ahead to the trip to the Big Apple for the Pinstripe Bowl, Yankee Stadium. They've told us, like, the temperature's going to be like 30 for game day a week from Saturday. They remind us that it's an open press box at Yankee Stadium, so dress accordingly. What they don't know is we have open press boxes in the South, and we play football in November and December in the South, and it gets cold. We know how to handle ourselves. Snobs. The Yankees think they're so much smarter than the rest of us, don't they? But I'm looking forward to going up there. Sports Talk will take the Big Apple by storm. What are our colors? Because, you know, the Empire State Building, they will change their colors to recognize great events, great feats, great individuals, great organizations. What do we have a particular color scheme that they can, they can turn their colors into our colors? I know, garnet and orange.
I don't know
that
should
be our
fits
colors.
With that.
Little purple, little garnet, orange, purple for Furman and State, and little blue for Citadel, and little blue for PC.
If you combine all the colors, it's
little
like
gold for Wofford.
It's like crap color. It's just brown.
Okay. Well, we could be. We don't have to be so descriptive, plumber. Though you are a plumber, so you would certainly think of the brown as being a dominant color.
White
in your
gray.
Turn off your microphone. Thank you. So anyway, looking forward to going up there, and that'll be, of course, next week. Today we had a Zoom call with Clemson folks and with some Penn State people. I didn't mess with the Penn State people, though they will have their interim coach tomorrow. We'll mess with that. But we were in on the Clemson conference calls with the two coordinators. Garrett Riley, I mean, bless his heart, as we say down here in the South. If he thinks he's getting fired by Dabo Swinney, he's not showing it. He's like, my focus is on next year. My focus is on winning the game. He said the entire focus is on winning this game. And then his focus is on getting ready for next year. So if Dabo Swinney is planning to fire him, he's not giving him any indication. Of course, that's how Swinney can operate, or any head coach can operate. He can just decide to do it when he's ready to do it. So, but if Clemson goes out and has a really good offensive day against Penn State, I mean, what do you do? The offense showed some life. It really did show some life over the last half of the season. You go back and you look at Klubnik's passing numbers. I know they're still not the explosive, deep down the field air raid attack that people thought they were getting when you got Garrett Riley, that maybe they wanted, but it is what it is. By now you know what this offense is about. The efficiency level was pretty good. They developed an excellent running back in this offense, and Adam Randall, who was not a running back by trade when all this started. So you got to give Garrett Riley, I think, some credit there. And also considering the turnover on the offensive line. In fact, they're going to be without Colin Sadler for the bowl game because of injury, so they're having to work around that. Clemson's got 26 folks out for the bowl game for a variety of reasons: injuries, opt-outs, transfers. Penn State, to my knowledge, I was just checking today, looks like Penn State's got 5 guys who have opted out at this point, including their outstanding running back, Nicholas Singleton. So they'll miss him to some degree. One of their safeties is opted out. Wheatley, one of their safeties, one of their top defensive backs, is opted out. And let's see who else we've got here who's opted out. I got the list here in front of me. One of their offensive linemen opted out. A cornerback, Elliott Washington, he is opted out. I mentioned the safety, Wheatley, is opted out. The running back, and also one of their top defensive tackles, Durant, opted out as well for Penn State at this point. So that's kind of what it looks like there. Plus, of course, they're having to use their backup quarterback, who was a guy that Tom Allen said he recruited when he was at Indiana. And this kid comes from the same town in Ohio as one of Clemson's signees this year. And he's a guy that, of course, was kind of thrown into things after Drew Aller was injured. And he has come on, and he's thrown for about 1,000 yards after filling in for the starter. The starter, of course, was a guy that was, like so many quarterbacks this season, going into the season, was considered a Heisman Trophy guy. And he passed for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns before he was hurt. I think he had a knee injury that knocked him out for the season. So it will be Ethan Grunkemeyer as a quarterback at Penn State when they take on the Tigers. More on that as we'll hear from the coordinators coming up. Basketball last night up at Littlejohn. Of course, we were up there for that. Clemson wins it over South Carolina. And as we thought going in, the Clemson depth played a role. The Tigers had a lot of different guys score. South Carolina's not going to win many basketball games when Meechie Johnson's not effective offensively. And he was not effective offensively at all last night. Clemson's defense did a good job on him. He just never could get he never could get going offensively, never could get into a rhythm, could not find a whole lot of space to get open looks from three. As a team, the Gamecocks were pitiful from three. They were like 4 of 23, I believe, from three. So in their last 2 games, their three-point shooting has been abysmal, which makes you wonder, how good of a three-point shooting team is this South Carolina team? I mean, this is a team that hit 16 threes against Southern Miss. And in their last 2 games, they've hit 6 threes in their last 2 games. And if this team is not hitting threes, then it's going to be a tough season for them. They are 4 of 26 from 3. That's what they were last night. 4 of 26. That's 15%. They're 7 of 49 from 3 over their last 2 games. So, South Carolina had the early lead in this one, jumped out to an 8-point lead, a 7-point lead. Then Clemson went on a run, 15 straight, and took a lead they never gave up. They were up 20-12 and never trailed from there. Pretty much held a double-digit lead most of the way. South Carolina did get back to within about 6 points late in the ball game, but couldn't really catch up from there. South Carolina had 9 turnovers in the second half, 14 for the game. Clemson converted those into 16 points, and Clemson only had 8 turnovers. South Carolina, now, if you're Lamont Paris and you're looking for a little glimmer of hope about things, the Gamecocks have won the boards now 3 straight games after not doing much on the boards. They out-rebounded Clemson 33-29 and had more offensive rebounds, but, again, couldn't do all that much with it. Ace Buckner was terrific last night for Clemson, a career-high 19 points off the bench. The Clemson bench just totally dominated the South Carolina bench from a scoring standpoint, 41-14. Meechie Johnson mentioned him. He didn't score for the first 27 minutes. He didn't score. And he did not make a 3 for the game. He was 2 for 9 from the floor. He finished with 8 points. I mean, if they're gonna beat good teams, he's got to be more offensively present than that. Mike Sherajamps, I thought, had a nice game. He got him off to a good start, but then kind of cooled off. He and Kobe Knox led the Gamecocks with 13. Of course, Eli Ellis missed the game with a sprained ankle. Zach Foster of Clemson, he suffered a knee injury of some type. He's going to have an MRI today. We'll have to check and see if any news on that has come out. So the Gamecocks are now 7-4, and they'll host SC State on Monday. And Clemson is 9-3 and will play Cincinnati Sunday in Greenville. The all-time series now, South Carolina leads it 93-82. At one time, it was lopsided, but Clemson's been chipping away at that, even though it's 6-5 Clemson over the last 11 games. We'll hear from the coaches, some of their post-game comments here coming up in just a little bit. Also coming up tonight, we have an edition of Chalk Talk with coaches Reedy and Johnson, and it's an SC Wild night for you as well tonight here on Sports Talk, as we'll have Major Billy Downer, his annual pre-Christmas show where he tells you about some of the best gifts for the outdoorsman in your life, whether it be something in the category of a weapon or something in the category of camping or fishing or just whatever you do outdoors. He'll have some great gift ideas. All right, we'll be back just a moment here on Sports Talk.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, here to share some great news. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, can now be used for a lifetime of learning. From K through 12 to college and beyond, saving tax-free for your child or grandchild's education has never been easier. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax-deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
This holiday season, Founders Federal Credit Union is giving you more than cheer. Open a home equity line of credit by December 31st and get up to $750 towards closing costs. Perfect for home upgrades, paying off debt, or those big purchases you've been dreaming about. Don't wait, this offer ends soon. Visit foundersfcu.com/HELOC for more information. No Mr. Qualification required. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. See website for details.
Hi, I'm attorney Jim Corbett. For over 35 years, I've been making claims, litigating cases, and mediating cases. Quick checks from a car wreck are usually lowball offers. What happens 5 or more years from now when you didn't get the treatment or compensation you needed? Call me, Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, Corbett with an E, and the initial consultation is free. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Well, Clemson has put out the information just a little while ago. Zach Foster, a torn ACL last night. That's unfortunate. Good player, good young player. I think he went down like in the first 2 minutes of the game. Oh, well, not the first two, but once he got in the game, he only played like 2 minutes. But it was early in the game. He goes down with a knee injury. So it is an ACL. He will obviously require surgery and go through the rehab. So that's a tough loss for Clemson there because he had become a pretty valuable contributor off the bench for them. By the way, no Berge the rest of this week. He's traveling with the Coastal Carolina basketball team because they got games coming up. So he'll be gone here for a little while. And should add that going back to Clemson football for a moment, The count is now actually 27 because Wade Woodaz, did we mention this? Wade Woodaz is out as well. Wade Woodaz, he said his shoulder popped out when he tackled Lenora Sellers on that run where Sellers had a chance to make a big play. It was just Woodaz and Sellers in open grass, and he made that tackle. He said his shoulder popped out, and he continued to play. And now he's had some surgery, I guess, or is having surgery, and so he is out. So that's 27 Clemson players total between injured and opt-outs and transfers. Also, speaking of transfers, South Carolina starting right guard Trevon Baugh is entering the transfer portal, John. So he's heading out of South Carolina after a couple of years. Gamecock defensive lineman Nick Barrett picked for the Senior Bowl, so good honor for him. You got to like that for that kid because he hung around. He redshirted last year because he wanted to continue to grow and develop, and he did just that, made himself into a really good defensive tackle. Now a chance to go on to the NFL with a good showing there at the Senior Bowl and workouts between then and the draft. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you tonight here on Sports Talk. And our text line number is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. We'll work in calls and text messages amongst everything else. But right now, let's hear from the basketball coaches from last night's game up at Little John Coliseum. Packed house. Kudos to the Clemson fans for coming out, as we were talking about last night. And yes, there was. I don't know if it was their entire pep band. When I was talking about no pep band, they weren't. They must have had their instruments down on the floor in their laps or something. I looked over there. I didn't see any instruments. But yes, the pep band, some form of it was there. The place was totally full. I don't know how many students were there who came in as students, but kudos to the Clemson fans for filling up Little John last night and a good atmosphere for that game. Here's Brad Brownell, his opening remarks after getting win number 301 in his career at Clemson.
Yeah, happy for our team, and especially Ace Buckner. He's been hanging in there with us, and I told him earlier, I think it was either right before Mercer, or like the days are running together, that hang in there. I think you're going to have some good time here soon. And he's practiced a little bit better, and I felt like this would be a good game for him, and he was great. And obviously that was a big difference for us with Zach being out. He really helped do a lot of good things for our team. Thought defensively we were good most of the night. Obviously Michi's a terrific player, and he was the guy we were trying to really do a good job on. Our guys were alert to that, and if we'd have made some free throws, it probably would have been a little bit more relaxing ending. But this is a good win, another quick turnaround after the Mercer and BYU games. It's a lot in a short amount of time, and just proud of the way our guys responded. Questions?
All right, Brad Brownell, his opening comments, and they went into various questions. Here's Lamont Paris, South Carolina coach, as he addressed the media, his opening remarks after that loss last night.
Oh, all right. Well, we played hard. I think we at least checked that box. And so, I'm not we played hard. It must have been everything went great guy. But I only acknowledge that to our team because I think we played harder than what we had been playing, and particularly in terms of physicality on the defensive side. So, I wanted to acknowledge that with them and address that with them. But then you have to combine that with playing a little better also. And so we didn't do that. And so you come into an environment like this on the road against a good team. You don't have to play great. You don't have to play perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I do think you have to play hard. I think you have to play smart. And I think you have to play halfway decent offensively. I think you have to play halfway decent. And we did not achieve that in terms of our overall performance offensively. Their pressure bothered us a little bit at times, I think. But ultimately, we did have some clean looks, and cumulatively, we did not perform.
All right, Lamont Paris. By the way, I should make sure I'm clear. Brad Brownell, that's career win at Clemson, number 301 for his overall career, 468. His next loss, however, will be number 200 at Clemson. So he's got 301 wins at Clemson, 199 defeats at Clemson, and 468 overall wins and 284 overall defeats. The Tigers, like I mentioned, Cincinnati, on to Cincinnati for the Tigers coming up on Sunday in Greenville. Some other notes here. Steve Englehart, for a moment, I thought that PC was going to survive and find a way to keep Steve Englehart, but nope, West Georgia has come in and swooped him away. West Georgia, I believe that's in Carrollton. There's some really good football players down that way. And so this was announced today by West Georgia, and then PC put out a statement that they've been informed that he was leaving for another position at another university. He was 21-25 in 4 seasons with the Blue Hose, including 10 wins this year. And they say a national search is underway to determine the next head football coach at Presbyterian. I tell you, some coaches have that it factor, and I believe Coach Englehart has that it factor. He's just been a winner every step along the way, from his time down in Florida, Florida Tech, and then coming to PC and stepping into think of the ridiculous situation he stepped into. He replaced a coach that basically gutted the program, gutted it with his real cockamamie approach to never punting, leaving his defense with field position over and over again, like at the 10-yard line, because he wouldn't punt and things like that. That did not work. So he had to come in there. And, of course, you're working with no scholarships in the Pioneer League. Did a heck of a job. Of course, he's losing the quarterback. Whoever comes in, they're losing, what's his name, Colin Hurst, losing him. So, anyway, he gave PC what they asked for and did a great job for them. So, good luck to him on the next stop in his journey coaching football. 3 from Furman, named to the Stats Perform All-America team. On the first team is defensive end Joshua Stone King. This guy, boy, I tell you what, I hope Furman can hang on to him. He's been named to almost every All-American team there is. And you know that the bigger schools are, they're salivating perhaps over this guy. That's the problem when you're an FCS, a good FCS program, D2 program. You develop players only for the next level to come and buy them away. Third team was Luke Pettit and freshman All-American wide receiver Evan James. So Furman and Pettit, by the way, is an offensive guard. So Furman putting 3 on that team on a year that was not up to their standards, one that I'm sure they weren't pleased with. From Wofford, Darius Malcolm Jr. was named a freshman All-American from Wofford. And White Knoll is looking for a new head football coach. Announced today that their head coach, Nick Pelham, is going to be the first head coach at the new Lake Wiley High School in Clover. That was approved this morning. So, you know what? Get out of the shadow of Tom Knotts. He once coached for Tom Knotts, went over to White Knoll, made them a very good program, now moving on to Lake Wiley. By the way, Lou Bajak with a story today as well on the upcoming reclassification in the high school league. That's coming soon. I think he said by Friday schools are supposed to have like a model in front of them. But it looks like 5A will go back to one big division, not 2 state championships, but 1 for 5A. But the 1As, according to the enrollment figures, the 1As will now become the largest classification in terms of schools, and the 1As may divide into 2 championships for various sports. So I guess it's up to the classes to decide on how they handle their playoffs, and we'll see how that goes. But that looks like the way that's going to be working once the reclassification is voted on. And then, of course, you got to go through the process of putting schools into regions. That'll come later on. So reclassification every 2 years. I got to think that's not a fun thing for the people to go through, both in terms of the high school league and the various schools around the state. All right, we'll hit the break. Coming up, We're going to check in on Garrett Riley, Clemson offensive coordinator, what he's thinking about regarding his guys getting ready for the bowl game.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy this evening, a chance of some overnight showers, the low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. Showers are likely, especially in the afternoon and evening. The high reaches 61. Things are much nicer Friday and into the weekend. Sunshine returns to go with Friday and Saturday. High temperatures around 60. Sunday, winter arrives, but only on the calendar because it's sunny and 66. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
White House. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A federal appeals court says the National Guard deployment in the nation's capital can continue for now. The decision Wednesday stays a lower court ruling that had ordered an end to the troops' presence. Nick Reiner appeared in court as he faces charges of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. The 32-year-old did not enter a plea as he appeared Wednesday from behind the glass wall of a custody area. He was in shackles and wearing a jail suicide prevention smock. President Trump plans to give a preview of his 2026 agenda in a speech at the White House tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points, the Nasdaq dropped 418. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you tired of that sinking feeling when the electric bill arrives? Does the phrase peak hours trigger anxiety and a headache? Do you suffer from chronic fatigue of watching your hard-earned money evaporate right into the power grid? You may be suffering from utility pain and anxiety disorder, or UPAD. Symptoms include sweating when running the AC, a fear of turning on lights, and a general feeling of powerlessness over your energy costs.
It's time for you to try Solarists from Ken at Broker Solar. Broker Solar isn't a temporary fix, but a lasting solution with cutting-edge solar technology designed to address high energy bills at their source. Many clients have experienced immediate relief from high monthly payments with reports of increased home value and greater financial freedom. Imagine a brighter future for your home and your wallet. Side effects include the freedom to use your appliances when you want and a powerful sense of energy independence. Broker Solar, a brighter outlook for your home and wallet. Call us now, 803-807-7417. That's 807-7417 or online at brokersolar.com.
Hey y'all, this is Ted at Flight Deck Restaurant. We are now introducing a fast and price breaker lunch special menu. Pick any item for only $9.95. Here's what we have to offer. Single grilled pork chops, spaghetti with house salad garlic bread, single grilled chicken, chicken salad cold plate, chicken tenders, small Greek salad, grilled bacon and cheese, small chef salad, pepperoni pita pizza, small chicken tender salad. All meals except salads come with one side. Come and enjoy a delicious lunch for only $9.95. Serving from 11 to 2 every day. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy Hardware of Lexington, Greg Lynette, and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues, just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy Hardware of Lexington.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
We're back on Sports Talk Media Network. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday night. Coming up, I'm going to hear from Clemson offensive coordinator Garrett Riley. By the way, you know, Cade Klubnik's been dealing with a little injury thing as well that's had him on the sideline. I mean, he's been working with the team, and I don't think he's been out there taking the snaps unless he started doing something today. But he should be fine for the bowl game, according to the OC. We'll hear from him coming up in just a moment. Some text messages to get to, brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. Larry Lucas State Farm, taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com or give Larry a call, 803-799-1998. Don't forget the new location in Lexington, right behind the Mellow Mushroom on Sunset Drive or Sunset Boulevard. 803-359-0770, 803-359-0770. This is from Russell, who says it's really frustrating watching the Gamecocks play offense. You talking about the football team or the basketball team? I think he's talking about the basketball team now. No ball movement and a ton of what seems to be last-second desperation shots. I also don't see the intensity we're used to seeing on defense. Going to be a long season. Well, I was a little surprised. You should be maybe a little bothered by what Lamont Paris said at the beginning of the comments, that he saw more effort that he has seen. I mean, what's up with that? They should be giving effort every game. The effort should never be in question. Never. And I think he's felt like he hasn't seen that kind of effort that he's looking for so far this season. So that has to be a little bit concerning. And going back to our comments about Florida and their new coach and the situation with DJ Langway, the quarterback. This is from the 803. Y'all giving Summerall and staff a lot of credit. A number of other Florida transfers are transferring also. Seen this before. New coach comes in and thinks players he can bring outweigh those left in the program. Big gamble for the new coach. Yeah, I mean, you know, Langway's a good quarterback. It's proven he's a good quarterback. I would have done everything to keep him. I mean, to be honest with you. Let's see. This is from the 864. This is from Ernie about our Sparky Woods interview. Sparky was a really good coach and a hell of a recruiter, in my opinion, and I was totally against his firing. Then Brad came in and rode that gravy train of recruiting into a dismal 97 and 98. Just my opinion. Also, back to the Florida State massacre in 88, I'll never forget when Bob Fulton said at the end of the third quarter that the only fan still here has got to be a sadist. Okay, Ernie. Good memory. Now, what else we got here? This is Gamecock Tony from Lancaster. Let's see. He was regular. Let's go back on your show, Phil, with Coach Reedy. He must have been. This must be about Steve Tannehill. Yeah, he was regular. He was regular on Coach and the quarterback on your show, Phil, with Chuck Reedy. Yeah, we did have Steve with us. By the way, the funeral is Friday. If you haven't heard this, the funeral is Friday. It's private. family, close friends, which is private. They will have a celebration of life. They will have a celebration of life in 5 Points on January 10th, the afternoon of January 10th. So that'll be open to everybody to go down and because that's where his business in Columbia was in 5 Points. What?
Oh, I'm asking you, are they going to close down the roads? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so. This isn't St. Patrick's Day thing.
Well, I understand that, but he was pretty important.
Well, are you expecting 10,000 people to show up?
No, but
Okay.
I'm just saying. That
If we had a celebration of your life, Plumber, how many people would show up?
we wouldn't even need this room. I mean, you could probably fill it in the closet, but I'm just saying.
No, I don't think they'll be closing down 5 Points for that. I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they will. It might grow to something big. I don't know. Maybe it will, but I'm not expecting that, to be honest with you. All right, let's go to the comments here from Clemson offensive coordinator Garrett Riley, speaking on a Zoom today, which was put together by the Pinstripe Bowl people and their media being handled by, yes, sir, the New York Yankees. Yeah, 27 World Series championships for those who might have forgot. I'm going to go kiss every one of the trophies when I'm in the stadium. Here is Garrett Riley. He was asked about, first of all, anybody new in bowl practice really catch your eye, really kind of standing out, somebody that we haven't heard a whole lot about.
Yeah, I'll tell you one guy. I mean, there's been several people that have caught my eye for sure. It's been a little bit of musical chairs as far as who's out at practice and all that stuff recently. But, a guy that really has just improved steadily since really probably the second half of our season and certainly has flashed here in these last few bowl practices is, one that stands out to me is Juju Preston, a receiver. He's done a great job of just adapting and just kind of getting, just totally getting ingrained with what we do and what his job is and the technique and the assignment, just all the things that go along with it. But, with his progress, I'm super, super proud of him. And, he's still got a ways to go and all of that. But with the improvement that I've seen since the day he got on campus, I'm totally proud, of his progress for sure. So I think there's some bright future and bright days ahead for Juju.
I understand this might not be your main focus right now, but you were reportedly involved with the North Texas and Coastal Carolina jobs. I just want to give you a chance to speak about your own future as a coach and if you expect to be back at Clemson next year.
Yeah, I mean, my whole focus is operating here at Clemson. I know this is an unbelievable place to work, unbelievable place to live. Certainly didn't have the season that we all wanted, but sometimes that's sports. And I know there's decisions to be made and all that stuff, big picture wise, but I'm telling you, I mean, my whole focus is being here, being the best I can for our staff, being the best I can for our players, and giving us the best chance to finish this thing out the way we have been the last few weeks and go cap it off with a great bowl win. So that's 100% the focus.
Was hoping to get some of your insight on CV, and obviously this was a big season for him, a big off season before that. How would you evaluate him, and has he done maybe what you were looking for to create the confidence that he can be the guy next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I look at just being the position coach and being the coordinator is like, hey, is this guy, does he have the intangibles that you want? Is he improving with the reps that we're getting? Like, do you see those flashes? Do you see that consistently getting better? And I think he's done a good job of that. And I think, again, just going back to his real experience of true game experience against SMU, I mean, he's going to draw a lot off of that moving forward for him individually. But, I mean, we'll certainly evaluate everything as our season, finishes here pretty soon. Some of that's already begun, as you would imagine. But, I think CV's done a good job of consistently improving and maturing and just doing all the things that you would anticipate that a quarterback's going to do as he goes through a program, especially a program like Clemson.
When you have a full season and you run your offense the way you do, and then you have one bowl game at the end,
how much do you stick to what you like to do throughout the season, and how much do you change things up for this one game?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it and different approaches with it. Now, I think probably more so than ever, a lot of that kind of comes down to who's playing for you, who you have, just because the nature of bowl games right now, with people missing out and things of that nature. So I think a lot of it obviously has to do with that. But, I mean, you're always going to rely on what you feel like you do well and all those things, but you also have some added time to experiment a little bit and have some wrinkles, have some fun bowl stuff ready to roll. And so that's what's always the fun part about getting ready for a bowl game.
You talked a minute ago about musical chairs with some of the guys who are at practice and who aren't at practice. How much of a challenge is it when you talk about implementing a game plan for an opponent when you don't have a consistent cast of characters on the field at practice?
It's always a challenge. Now, the good thing is we've had several weeks to kind of, really get ready and go through it and plan and have some plan Bs and things of that nature when you get ready for a bowl game. But, obviously if this was a case from a week to week in a regular season, it'd be much more challenging. But, time's been on our side a little bit to have the best plan and to figure it out.
Looked like Cade was out there fully dressed, taking some mental reps. Do you expect him to be able to, to get back to practice soon and participate and play in the bowl game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's gradually has been kind of getting implemented more and more in practice these last couple of days. So I fully expect him to be ready to go and expect his workload to increase daily.
Coach, when you talk about game planning and knowing what you have because you've had that time between the end of the regular season and started practices, how has your game planning for a bowl game opponent evolved over the course of your career when you're maybe now more uncertain than ever about what's going to be on the other sideline? And then just do you have any general thoughts about Penn State's in that regard as well?
That's a great question. How has it evolved? I mean, my best answer is just really what you hit on. It's just the nature of people on your team, whether you have them or not, and then obviously with the opponents. So just trying to figure that out as best you can and just try and gain as much information as you can, on those players for both sides. So, I think Penn State, obviously, talented group over there. And, I think they do a good job of trying to confuse quarterbacks and obviously rushing the passer. They've had success there. Give you a lot of different looks on the back end. So I know just the confusion part of it. And, and I know they have talent and speed on the back end to challenge you and challenge your skilled people. And so I just feel like it's going to be a great challenge for us, and certainly a challenge for us up front going against their front seven. And I think our guys are definitely looking forward to it. But, I'm certainly excited as a coach to be able to have an opportunity to coach in that game against that style of opponent. I think, it's going to be a really, really great matchup.
Obviously, with the team starting to look a little different with opt-outs, what are some things maybe the team is doing off the field to try to keep that bond? I know you guys talk about the culture you have all the time that starts with Coach Sweeney, but are there any specific activities or stuff you guys are doing off the field to keep guys focused in that way?
That's a great question. I mean, I think, what's unique, what's fun about the bowl prep as well is like, once you get through and our guys are done with finals now it's just kind of back to just football, right? And so you got them, a little bit more time and they're just hanging around the building, literally all day, especially here at Clemson and the facility that we're fortunate enough to have. I mean, our guys are hanging around all the time. And so that's what's special about bowl time as well, is it kind of just gets back to football and just your team. I mean, they're pretty much the only people on campus, and here at Clemson right now. So they're just all hanging out with one another, which is great to see. Our team actually did a little event yesterday after practice and went to this, kind of theme park in Greenville. Took the team yesterday. So they were playing laser tag and go-karts and all that fun stuff, just kind of being kids again. So that was something that we just did just yesterday. So that was pretty cool to see.
All right, Coach, obviously you have a guy in the building in Tom Allen that was at Penn State last year. Obviously coaches change, players change, but did you go over and, maybe pick his brain on some of the players or, things to look out for, with that defense just a little bit to kind of get an idea of what you're going to expect?
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, just trying to gain as much inside information on some of just the personnel, what you think about them, strengths, weaknesses, things of that nature, and then you know, schematically, it's different. There's some similarities, but it's different. Obviously, different coach and you know, a little bit of a different system, but you know, just trying to get a pulse as much as you can. I think that insight probably helps, especially in this year with maybe some backup guys that haven't played as much, but maybe he knows more about that I haven't seen on tape, right? So I just think some of that, you know, information is helpful. So definitely a guy that we've tried to bounce ideas off and, you know, be a resource for us that way.
Going back to Juju, do you see him as a guy that can maybe help you guys in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I really do. You know, I mean, he's a skilled guy, and he's just, I'm telling you, this guy's improved quickly and kind of brings a different skill set, just a little bit different juice into that receiver room that's already a talented room. But yeah, I mean, he's certainly a guy that we're going to have ready to play, no question about it.
Coach, in that answer you gave a minute ago about checking in with Coach Allen about some of the backups who have maybe not put stuff on film before, in the age of the portal and the redshirt rules being the way they are with guys being able to do more in the postseason, is there any sort of a risk reward in bowl games to your backups putting things on tape that obviously you and Penn State aren't the only ones going to be watching this game, your fans, but other schools across the country? So is there any risk reward aspect in that regard when you're game planning, or do you guys not worry about it?
I really don't. I mean, I know there's consequences, there's repercussions of all this stuff, right? But I just think, again, the whole focus for us and hopefully for our players is like, let's just go do the best we can, perform the best we can to give ourselves the best chance to win, you know, and whatever happens from there, like that's up to the kids, up to the coaches and some of those decisions. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be someone that's reluctant to play somebody because I'm scared he's going to put some on tape and leave or something like that, right? Like, let's go put our best guys out there and let's go give ourselves the best chance to win.
Coach, can you talk about what it means last hoorah with you and Cade, and have you put much thought into that yet?
A little bit. Trying to just wait and, you know, just let that kind of, you know, unfold in the moment, so to speak. But you're certainly cherishing these last few practices and meetings, and just as it gets down to it, you know, for he and I, you know, definitely have a special bond with that kid and been through a lot with him. So, you know, just trying to do the best we can to enjoy one another, obviously coach and teach them and get them ready to go to play well in this game. But yeah, I mean, you're certainly trying to do things to cherish it and you know, kind of hold on as long as you can here and, you know, really value that time with him and just our room, you know, as a collection of people. It's been a special group with those seniors, you know, Blake Miller as well. And guys, Walker Parks and Ryan Linthicum. I mean, just all our seniors. They really are been a special group, special people to me.
All right, there you go. OC for Clemson. Just looking at some of the players out on the offense. Bryant Westco, Braden Jacobs, Elijah Thurman, Colin Sadler, Olsen Pat Henry. Yeah, major contributors will be on the sideline. And we'll be right back.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there. South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
I made it over to Seawell's today. It was good. Good. Kind of like one of my field goal attempts. Good. And had the roast beef. They had roast beef today. Had roast beef and mashed potatoes, some string beans for good health, salad, terrific dessert. What else did I have? I had something else. Oh, mac and cheese. Oh, it was good, Plumber.
We know you had some dessert. What did you have for dessert?
A little orange cake. A little piece of orange cake.
I'm a big fan of the banana pudding.
Didn't have banana pudding. I don't know where the BP was today. But I'll just say, they're going to be closed now after Friday. They'll be done for the year. So they're off on holiday. So get down tomorrow and Friday. And they've got big events, too. They had a big event there today. They're doing a lot of catering. So think about Seawell's when you need catering, because they can handle your event at their location on Rosewood Drive, 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So make sure you give them a call. Some recruiting notes. South Carolina offensive. Oh, can we get the flusheroo here? We need to grease that up and get it ready. All right. South Carolina offensive guard Trevon Baugh is transferring. One-time South Carolina linebacker Pup Howard is transferring from Florida. Need a little oil on that handle.
Yeah.
Former Catawba Ridge, what's that stuff called? WD-40. A little WD-40.
Just said that. Yeah.
Oh, did you say that?
Yeah.
They say, people who are handy with their hands, they say, give me duct tape, a WD-40, and a wrench, and I can fix anything.
A plunger is what I use.
Fits.
Duct tape fixes everything.
Former Catawba Ridge quarterback Jaden Davis is transferring from Michigan. Yeah, he left Catawba Ridge, went to Providence. Was it Providence Day or Providence High School in Charlotte, and had a really good high school career. You might want to keep an eye on him. I could see him perhaps coming back this way. Also this one, Summerville wide receiver Yannick Smith transferring from East Carolina. Guess I should say former Summerville wide receiver. But he's a really good wide receiver. Safety Marquise Bryant of Rolesville, North Carolina, committed to North Carolina. He had listed Clemson among his finalists, but the Tigers were never really that strongly involved. He only visited for the LSU game, and not much after that with him. Defensive end Rashad Streets of Raleigh has South Carolina among his top schools right now, along with Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, and Clemson. Clemson target offensive tackle Jimmy Callis was offered by Penn State. And that should be for Rashad Streets. It was Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon as his top schools. Clemson's not in the hunt there. But Clemson offensive target Jimmy Callis was offered by Penn State. Little typo there. South Carolina target cornerback Amari Fountain offered by BYU. South Carolina target athlete with the best name, Vermont Carmack. Greensboro, North Carolina, offered by Auburn. South Carolina target defensive end Anthony Sweeney, offered by Florida State. Of course, as we think this came out last night, former USC basketball commitment Isaac Ellis committed to Louisville. Be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump paid his respects during the return of 3 Americans who were killed in Syria over the weekend. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The president stood on the tarmac at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware for the dignified transfer of 2 Iowa National Guard members and a U.S. civilian interpreter. The commander-in-chief was joined by his Pentagon chief and other dignitaries for the solemn ritual. The president met privately with grieving families before the transfer cases, draped with the American flag that hold the soldiers' remains, were carried off the C-17 military aircraft. Greg Clugston, the White House.
The Senate has given final passage to an annual military policy bill that will authorize $901 billion in defense programs. Military affairs analyst retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis tells Salem Radio the U.S. must boost its military spending to counter increased international threats.
We're fighting on 3 fronts: China, Russia, and ongoing Middle East threats. The priorities in the president's new national security strategy: nuclear modernization, a must, given what China is doing; advanced munitions, shipbuilding, AI-enabled defense capabilities, missile defense, and, of course, the hardening of the Pacific posture to counter the Chinese aggression.
The annual National Defense Authorization Act also raises troop pay by 3.8%. A federal appeals court says the National Guard deployment in the nation's capital can continue for now. The decision Wednesday stays a lower court ruling that had ordered an end to the troops' presence. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This message is for anyone looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, even if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or taking anxiety meds. Here's an example. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe overweight with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost about $200 a month. We're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. If you've had prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Get a quick quote by calling Term Provider at 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085. If you're looking for term life insurance but have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or have other health issues, call Term Provider at 800-555-2085 or visit termprovider.com. termprovider.com.
Artificial intelligence stocks are again a drag on Wall Street as we hear from Seth Sutel.
I'm Seth Sutel, and this is the AP Markets Report. More drops for AI stocks dragged Wall Street to its worst day in almost a month. The S&P 500 fell 1 2/10% Wednesday. That was its 4th drop in a row. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 228 points. That's about 0.5%. The Nasdaq Composite dropped 1 8/10%. Slightly more stocks rose than fell in the S&P, but they got drowned out by drops for companies in the artificial intelligence industry. Nvidia sank 3 8/10%. Oil producers jumped along with the price of crude following President Donald Trump's latest escalation against Venezuela. ConocoPhillips rose 4 6/10%. Treasury yields held steady in the bond market. Seth Sutel, New York.
News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters. Ohio
On point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy this evening, a chance of some overnight showers, the low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. Showers are likely, especially in the afternoon and evening. The high reaches 61. Things are much nicer Friday and into the weekend. Sunshine returns to go with Friday and Saturday. High temperatures around 60. Sunday, winter arrives, but only on the calendar because it's sunny and 66. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday night. Been a busy show, and it only gets better from here. SC Wild at 7:35 tonight. Get ready for that because we will have the Major with us, and he's going to have his annual presentation of the best gifts for the outdoorsman on your holiday shopping list. So get ready for that. And now, of course, who wouldn't want to have these two gentlemen on their shopping list? I know back in the day, women lined up to shower them with gifts. Now one has only one woman, and one has who knows how many because he's the Golden Bachelor, so telling how many he's got. It's time for another edition of Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk.
Get ready for a deep dive into the X's and O's. This is Chalk Talk with coaches Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, let's welcome in the man with one woman. That would be Coach Chuck Reedy. Good evening, sir. Welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing great. That one woman is laying right next to me here.
All right, let's don't get too descriptive. Okay, just had she just been sitting next to you or walking next to you, that would have been just fine. But
well, we're sitting here. I mean.
And let's go to the Golden Bachelor, Coach Ellis Johnson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. A little chilly up this way. Probably is in Columbia, too.
Yeah, it was kind of, I think we kind of touched the upper 50s, maybe 60 today. So it was, but it'll cool off tonight. It's great to have the two of you with us. Before we get started, I know, Ellis, you wanted to talk about Steve Tannehill for just a moment. And I know you do as well, Chuck, as we lost Steve Tannehill this week. And Ellis, your thoughts on Steve Tannehill?
Well, I feel terrible. I didn't even know he was sick. And I guess I've just been out of touch with folks that we know each other. But I go back to when Steve had been recruited out of high school. I was at Alabama. And I don't know what other schools he visited, but it kind of came down to South Carolina and Alabama. And Coach Darling said something about his hair. But you go back to then, there weren't a whole lot of guys that wore long hair. And he was trying to sit there and talk to him about it. You know, do you really think you ought to wear that hair like that? And then when we played him, we ended up playing him that year or the next year, and Steve's going to start. And he said, if you have to, just pull him down by the hair. But he was a great player. I remember I went to Clemson, of course, I had to coach against him still. So, great competitor. I used to go by Chesterfield High School recruiting. He had some really good teams. Never had a major college player. He did at Union, but not at Chesterfield. But I would go in there and I'd ask for him, and they'd say, well, if you want to talk to him, you probably have to go out there and find him in a deer stand somewhere.
He did love to hunt. In fact, we had him on the show one night because he was a regular contributor, and he joined us from a deer stand. And
yeah, I remember that night.
He might have been on with one of y'all. One of y'all might have been off.
He was on with us trying to help take Chuck's place.
Yeah. And he was at a deer stand whispering, like, hey, I see something over there, da-da-da-da. So, Chuck, how about your thoughts on Steve? How well did you get to know him over the years, both as a athlete and a coach?
Yeah, mainly as a coach. I was in Texas, when he played and what have you. So I wasn't around at that, in this part of the country. But I when at Goose Creek, when we were beginning to get pretty good, I think it's 2004. He was actually like a volunteer coach at West Ashley High School. And they beat us. And they threw that thing all over the daggone field. And, and then he went on, like Ellis said, to Chesterfield and Union, but, was a heck of a football coach. And then we did, I know 1 year, but I think 2 years, he and I did the show. And just what you're saying, he was in the deer stand, and then I do remember, we went, over to, to his bar actually and did a show over there one night.
Yep, you're right.
But, just, and I'm like Ellis, I had no idea that he was sick, obviously gone way too soon.
Yeah. Absolutely. By the way, Chuck, saw the picture of you and the other coaches who were inducted into the Coaches Hall of Fame on Saturday morning as part of the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl weekend. And I must say, you look much younger than the rest of the crowd there. So good job of that Botox can do amazing stuff from what I hear.
Yeah. Well,
Ellis,
comment.
Ellis, you ever had a shot of Botox?
No, I've heard it painful.
Well, it depends on who's giving it to you, All right.
There's some areas I could use some Botox. I know that.
Yes, couldn't we all? Okay, Chuck, do you think we heard from Garrett Riley, and he's focusing on winning this bowl game. He had a couple of coaching opportunities that didn't work out. You think he'll be back next year as the OC at Clemson?
I think I didn't think so. And I think they're trying to give him an opportunity to find another job. But I don't know anything. I don't have any inside information. I just think everybody felt like, that he wouldn't be back for another year. But, I don't know. And the longer it goes on, obviously, the more likely it is that he'll be back.
Is it proper, Ellis, Chuck, both of it? There have not been any changes on the coaching staff. There's been a lot of reporting and writing suggesting that there's going to be, but he hasn't done anything, and they're going to, of course, coach the bowl game. And is that – I know it's a tough business and you got to do business and put feelings aside, but, is that the proper way to treat your coaches if you're going to make changes, to carry them all the way into the new year or near it? And because a lot of jobs that they might have had a chance to go get will be filled, their opportunities will be somewhat limited. I'm just – or should we care about what's fair in this kind of world?
Well, the whole thing, the calendar's so different than when I was involved in it. It wasn't ever a good time for that to happen to people. But this time now, I don't know when you do it. When do you make that decision? And if you give someone, just say, look, I'm going to make a change. If you want to stay and be looking for a job and hang in there with us through the bowl, I'm not doing anything until then or whatever. But, if you tell somebody you ain't got a job, if somebody told me that, I'm heading out the door and I'm going to get paid because that's fired without cause.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I'm not going to coach 4 or 5 weeks knowing that I'm not going to have my job. So, I don't know. And I have no idea what's happening over there. And having a child on the team, kid on the team, I make a kind of an effort not to ask people questions over there.
Sure.
Because I certainly don't want to be seen as prying into it.
Well, just the folks who are around there every day and write about it have been strongly suggesting that there's going to be changes defensively. They've been strongly suggesting that Garrett Riley's going to be out of the job. So I'm just thinking, as a human being, it's something you would have gone ahead and done instead of carrying these guys all the way through. But again, it's the college football business, and you're not surprised by anything that happens. Chuck, Clemson's got 27 fewer players on the roster now than when they played South Carolina for a variety of reasons, injuries, opt-outs, transfers, etc. How much is that going to impact them against Penn State, you think?
Well, it's certainly going to impact them. But Penn State's probably in the same boat. I mean, they've got they've got I know 4 or 5 opt-outs themselves, and I don't know how many injuries they've got or transfer guys they've got, and they're in a little different situation with a coaching change and what have you. So I think both schools are going to be shorthanded, and that's the nature of bowl games. That's the way it is now. But certainly Clemson, and I think Dabo's got the right approach. You know what? We're going to go play with the guys we have, and it's going to give them an opportunity to play a bunch of guys that they're going to have to be playing with next year. So, it is what it is. They can make something positive out of it.
Well, at least they've got their quarterback. They've got their top running back. They've got a couple of their primary receivers, and the young guy has stepped up. Apparently, this Juju Preston has apparently been impressive in the bowl and may have a chance to play and contribute. Offensive line's taken a couple of hits, but really, Ellis, the defense, I mean, they've lost so much off the defense. How do you think that defense will hold up? You don't have Woods. You don't have Parker. You don't have Capehart. You don't have Terrell. You don't have Barnes. And others. How do you think they'll hold up?
Well, Barnes is more of a depth thing. I don't know how much it'll affect. It kind of depends on how the game flows. Those other ones, that's huge. They're all opting out because they're going in the draft. And they're the ones that can't hardly. I mean, some of them are first-round rated. I think they didn't help themselves this year all that much. They could have slipped a little bit. But now these are high draft picks. And that's not unusual for those guys to opt out of second-level bowls. So they will definitely miss that. But like Chuck said, they've got the same issue going on everywhere. So you just don't know. I mean, they're going to be some funny matchups out there maybe. The offensive guy they'll miss is Antonio Williams. Mm-hmm. He's been banged up in and out all year, and he's a draft pick. And so I think he opted out to just, he needs to get some big things fixed. He didn't have any major surgery, I don't think. But he's got to get a couple of things done and kind of rest his body a little bit. But they've got a good player behind him. I don't think he's as productive as Antonio, but Brown's a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, he showed his stuff before he was hurt, never could really get his snaps back. This will be his opportunity to do that. This is Chalk Talk with Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson here on Sports Talk. A little quiet now over at USC since they named their 3 coaches. I'm trying to remember. So we last talked to you guys early last week, I guess, before the formal announcement was made. So you got your 3, you got Briles, and you got your running back coach, and you got your offensive line coach there, Chuck. It's all 3, at least on paper, all 3 look like home run hires to me for South Carolina. What's your feel about what Beamer was able to do here?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I really don't think he could have done any better. Kendall Briles, he's got a track record. He obviously, he does, a lot of what his dad did, and his dad, was a heck of a football coach, and they, have the same philosophy, what have you. Mm-hmm. And I think bringing his offensive line guy with him is huge. They work together, and that I think is really a good hire. And then Drayton, he's got as good a resume as any running back coach in the country, probably. So no, I don't think they could have done any better. Now they've got to go out and coach them.
Ellis, do you like the fact that he hired, well, really 2 of those 3, I think could be considered really older heads. I mean, Briles he's been around a lot. He's still in his 40s, but Drayton's older, and I think Clements is a little bit older as well. I mean, and you got Sean Elliott. He's got some older people in there now that he should lean on for some advice. I mean, if you're a head coach, You bring those kind of guys in. Do you kind of let them do their thing and kind of maybe stay out of their way?
Well, I think it's always good to have a little mix like that, but you don't know how this stuff's going to work out. We'll talk in 2 or 3 years, and, you know, some of the guys that we'd be talking negative about, we thought they were going to be great. Some of the guys would be praising. You know, nobody thought it was going to be that big a deal, so I don't really get into all that stuff. I've been a little puzzled. I guess the athletic director's been heavy-handed in these hires, all coming from TCU. And somebody also told me he was getting to bring his running back down. And I said, well, the running back coach is coming from Penn State. I worked with him at Mississippi State. Stan Drayton's a heck of a football coach. Mm-hmm. He's had a lot of miles on him since we were together at State. But he was a really good running back coach then. And Sean Elliott's as good an offensive line coach as I've ever worked with. And now he's got to move out of the way to let somebody else come coach. So it looks like to me he must try to get Kendall. He had to let him bring the people with him.
Yeah.
And I hope you can shed a little light on the running back thing because, I mean, Stan was clearly hired as a running back coach. And somebody told me that Kendall's bringing his running back coach.
No, Stan Drayton was named as the running backs coach and assistant head coach for offense. So,
yeah, I mean, somebody's trying to tell me Browse is bringing 2 people. I don't know. I wasn't going to argue with him, but
well, I mean,
can't even remember who told me.
That's interesting. We'll have to dig. You know, I was thinking, Chuck, that you know, do you think Drayton, the relationship with Drayton and Beamer could become something like McCorvey and Sweeney at Clemson? Because I mean, you know, Dabo's always had Woody McCorvey there to kind of lean on and be a sounding board about things. An older guy that he has a terrific relationship with. Now, Beamer doesn't have. This is a brand new relationship, but I mean, I could kind of see Drayton filling in that role.
Shane was on our staff at State also.
That's
now,
right.
Stan didn't stay but 1 year.
Okay.
He came in my office one day. He said, "Hey, Urban Meyer called me. And I feel terrible. I hadn't been here a full year. I don't know if I should go. What do you think?" I said, "Well, if you don't call him back or if you don't go, I'm gonna get a doctor to come in and examine you for mental illness." But that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
He was very concerned about leaving for Florida after, you know, committing to come in and work for Slack. And but he was a really good running back coach. But Shane was on that staff.
Yeah, you're right. How about that, Chuck? Could you see Drayton kind of filling that role as well?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for having some maturity on your staff. I know from personal experience, you know, I had a guy named Bobby Cope. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I'm sure Ellis knows who he is. And when I was at Baylor, and you know, he was a guy, you know, we'd be in a staff meeting and we'd go through things, and I'd go to my office and he'd knock on the door and he'd come in and he'd sit down and he said, "Coach, he wouldn't make suggestions. He'd just say, "Well, you know, have you thought about this?" Mm-hmm. You know, and he'd put it in a way that I said, "Well, yeah, maybe I do need to think about that." You know, so I think it's really good to have that kind of maturity, you know, on the staff. And I don't know Drayton. I don't know him at all, but if he can provide that, then certainly, you know, that would be an asset to him.
All right, let's talk about the playoff games coming up. First up, let's begin with what could be the lopsided games. Either one of you. We'll start with you, Ellis. Do you think James Madison will have anything for Oregon, any way of hanging with Oregon, and do you think Tulane will have any way of hanging with Ole Miss?
I don't think James Madison. I think Oregon's too good up front. And usually, if a lesser team can kind of make it interesting or something, they're able to play with them up front for a while. And then they come up with some good plays and, you know, schemes or something like that. Eventually, the most talent's usually going to take over. On the other hand, Tulane got whacked pretty good by Ole Miss early in the year. But I look at Ole Miss, and they ended up playing 6 of the bottom 7 teams in the SEC. And they didn't know that going into the season, but as it shook out, that's who their wins were. 6 of the bottom 7. And they only had 2 wins the whole year over a top 25 team, Oklahoma and Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
So they beat one team in the conference that had a winning conference record. They beat Oklahoma. I don't know. They may not be as good as everybody thinks they are, but I do think they'll, put up enough points. They'll beat Tulane. So I don't see an upset coming. And I'm going to say this in addition. This year those bye weeks are not conference champions necessarily. They're the first 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of them got bounced last year. So the bye didn't mean as much last year. I think it means a heck of a lot this year. If you're telling me you're going to win 4 in a row, to get that championship, and you're going to come out of that first round, playing those guys, that's going to be hard, guys. They're going to get tired. They're going to get banged up. They're going to beat up. Somebody's going to lose a good player. I'd have to favor those 4 byes right now that the champion will come out of there somewhere. And I'd say the team that's sitting in the best track, it's all going to be a bloodbath in the quarterfinals. But I think Georgia's sitting kind of in the catbird seat right now.
To play the winner, of course, of Ole Miss Tulane. What do you think of those 2 games, Chuck?
Yeah, well, I totally agree with everything Ellis said. I don't think James Madison has any chance going all the way to Eugene, Oregon. But like Ellis said, Tulane, I think Tulane will make it a game. And I totally agree with what he said about Georgia. Georgia's got the best track, I think. Like I said, they're going to probably get Ole Miss, who they've already played and beat. And then they're going to probably get Ohio State. So, but no, I don't see an upset, of those 2. Now, I don't know, if you go a little bit further, I do think, I think you got to bet on Alabama Friday night. And then, then the Miami Texas A&M game, that Texas A&M certainly, is an advantage, but, Texas A&M had the weakest schedule of anybody in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't really know how good they are. They played one really good football team, other than the Notre Dame win they had early, they played Texas and got beat. So, anyway, that's my thoughts. I don't I don't see an upset certainly in the first round.
All right, so you see everything holding to chalk with A&M. So you like A&M to beat Miami, and you like do you like Alabama to beat Oklahoma? I mean, that's a 9/8 as far as the.
I like if you look at when they played. I think Alabama turned the ball over like 4 times. I mean, they had almost double the yardage that Oklahoma had in that game, but the turnovers killed them.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were betting, I'd be betting on Alabama, and no, I don't. I think Miami's got a really good chance to beat Texas A&M.
Oh, all right. What do you think, El? So think about Alabama. You got. The last thing we saw of Alabama was they were getting handled by Georgia, and that might be lingering in the minds of people thinking, okay, they're going to go down at Oklahoma.
No, I think the problem, Ty Sampson, he was 11 touchdowns and 1 interception, and that's what was the most recent 5 games, something like that. Then it went to 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in the last 5 games. So what's wrong? He got no running game. They're asking him to do everything, and that's why they had all them turnovers against a good defense. Plus, they're playing at 8 p.m. in Oklahoma in December, and that wind's going to be, that hawk's going to be coming through there, and they're going to have to throw the ball to win. I really think Oklahoma's got a heck of an advantage in that game, but I think Alabama's got a better roster, but they're in a disadvantage in this one, I think.
How about the other one?
I would pick Miami. More balanced. I don't know if did I share that thing with this dadgum analytics guy the other day. The last 26 years, guys, the national champion for the last 26 years was either ranked in the top 3 on offensive scoring efficiency or defensive scoring efficiency. On offense or defense or both. Nobody else has won a national championship that doesn't have that. And the only teams in it that have that is Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas Tech. They're in the top 3 in one of those categories. But I think Georgia's been playing top 3 football lately.
You guys are fantastic, and you're our little elves here on Sports Talk. You bring us things that we can't get anywhere else. We thank you, and I'll get with you. We'll try and get something arranged for earlier next week if you're available. Try to avoid Christmas Eve and all that kind of stuff. So, because I know, Chuck will be laying there next to his darling wife, and and who knows what Ellis will be doing. So, thank you so much.
When are you mailing our Christmas gifts?
Oh, they're in the mail. Keep checking your mail, just like last year. We thank y'all. You're the best. Thank you so much. Be right back. It is SC Wild Time.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy this evening, a chance of some overnight showers, the low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. Showers are likely, especially in the afternoon and evening. The high reaches 61. Things are much nicer Friday and into the weekend. Sunshine returns to go with Friday and Saturday. High temperatures around 60. Sunday, winter arrives, but only on the calendar because it's sunny and 66. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
Ooh, that was great. Now check this out.
National Guard. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Donald Trump plans to give a preview of his 2026 agenda in a speech at the White House tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's about 90 minutes from now. Nick Reiner's son of Rob Reiner appeared in court as he faces charges of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. The 32-year-old did not enter a plea as he appeared Wednesday from behind the glass wall of a custody area. He was in shackles and wearing a jail suicide prevention center smock. A federal appeals court says the National Guard deployment in the nation's capital can continue for now. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
Life's busy, but that shouldn't mean putting your car care on hold. At Team 1 Sudduth Automotive on Millwood Avenue, you can drop off your vehicle outside business hours and count on our certified technicians to do the rest. From oil changes to engine overhauls, we make it easy for you and your car. Enjoy nationwide warranty, top quality parts, and a team that really cares. You can even visit Team1Automotive.com and book an appointment at your convenience. Team 1 Sudduth Automotive, we fix everything. That's Team1Automotive.com.
This Christmas, give the gift of the outdoors to the sportsmen in your family. At Palmetto State Armory, find gifts that spark adventure, from rugged boots, cozy jackets, and outdoor clothing essentials to must-have items like Yeti coolers, turtle box speakers, and Costa sunglasses. Whether you're shopping for the seasoned hunter or the next generation of outdoor lovers, Palmetto State Armory has everything you need to make memories this Christmas and beyond. Palmetto State Armory. Give the gift of the outdoors this year.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
This is Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and I've got a message for all of our hunters out there. When you go afield, always make sure to positively identify your target. Know the identifying features of the game you're hunting, and know what's beyond your target in case you miss. If you want more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov or join us on Wednesday nights for SC Wild.
You can listen to SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network or at dnr.sc.gov/podcasts.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, it is time to go outdoors. Not too bad outdoors. It really isn't. We had that little cold snap, and then it's warmed up a little bit. Might have a little brush of cold coming back in, but you know what? You really can't complain unless you want snow this time of the year. And who wants snow around here this time of the year?
Everyone. Everyone wants a white Christmas. Come on, Phil.
Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources joining us now, another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources. You want to reach out with a question or comment?
I can't believe you would actually start the show by saying no one wants a white Christmas.
Well, I'm just speaking for myself when I think, people agree.
I get it.
Yeah. Except for Chris Bergen. Agree? Chris Bergen would fight me over that. You want snow too, Plumber? Nah.
Everybody wants snow for
I do not want to shiver. I'm not interested in shivering. But let me give the phone number, 888-898-2525, if you want to contact the Major with a comment or a question related to the outdoors, or a text message at 803-900-4847. That's how you can reach us here tonight. Major, good to have you with us. What you got tonight?
So before we do our annual tradition, last show before Christmas, of the 10 most popular gifts for the outdoorsman in your life or outdoors woman. We will hit a little announcement that I feel we need to give out. So there's been a lot of questions in the last few weeks about when the South Carolina deer season closes. Make sure that everyone understands. So if you Google deer season dates in South Carolina, the AI overview, here we go with the artificial intelligence debacle, the AI will generate the following statement. It says South Carolina deer season dates vary significantly by game zone 1 through 4 and land type, private and WMA, but generally run from mid-August to January 1st or 15th. There's the problem. Deer season ends the 1st, not the 15th. Now, if you look down below, it puts game zone 1 and game zone 2 and says it ends January 1st/15, 1/15. So what AI has done is it picked up on a bill that went through the legislature last year that was sent to committee, which basically means it got tabled. It didn't get any further than committee, where they were looking to extend the deer season. That did not happen. So deer season in South Carolina ends January the 1st. Now, for folks that want to make sure and look at that, you can always look up the DNR regulations at eregulations.com. They're correct on that. So accurate information can be found on the eregs at www.eregulations.com/South Carolina. So you can find the eregs there. Go to our DNR website, of course, it's all there. They've been doing some announcements on Facebook and other social media sites to make sure that folks understand that deer season ends January 1st. So that's the big announcement to make sure everybody understood that January 1st is the deer season closure, as it always has been and will be for right now. There was a bill, but it did not pass. So that's something they may have looked at in the future. So that's our announcement on deer season. Let's go to the 10 most popular Christmas gifts for the outdoorsman or woman in your household. Now, in no particular order, one not being the top one, as always, some will be some repeats that we do have from year to year. And the first one is a good pair of binoculars. A good pair of binoculars can vary in price from $99 on up to $500 to $600 to $700. But a good pair of Vortex Triumph 10x40s, they're up there about $100 at Cabela's and Bass Pro. You can find those online or at your local sporting goods store. So a couple of different 10x42s out there for a really good price. Very nominal price. Again, I always tell folks binoculars are a great gift item for a deer hunter in your life or duck hunter. Doesn't matter because they like to look at birds or deer, whatever. That's a great item to have in the bag, and you can't have enough because you may have one in one truck and one in another truck. It just depends. But I always like to have a good pair of binoculars on the gift bag for probably a medium range price. Now, if you follow those directions last year and you're saying, Billy, I already got a pair of binoculars, well, you can get a good pair of binocular holders, and KUIU has some out there for like $79. Really nice, brand name, camouflage, binocular pack that sits on the front of your chest, very comfortable. A lot of binoculars today come with a case that will go around your shoulders and sit in front of you, but KUIU makes a really nice brand as well for about $79. So another gift item there with binoculars. But binoculars being number one tonight. Number two, always talk about this, Phil, a good flashlight. In the past, we've talked about rechargeable flashlights, including those for your truck. Those prices can go from $99 to $100 to $150 for a good rechargeable flashlight. Tonight, I'm going to suggest a different type of flashlight, one that can go in your pocket. The Streamlight Wedge, great item. Streamlight Wedge, $89 for the smaller one, which is 500 lumens, or $109 for the 1,000 lumen. Very bright. I have one myself. They are rechargeable with a USB cord, a USB-C cord. Excellent item. The Streamlight Wedge. Come in a variety of colors. I mean, most people like to get the coyote color like they're hunting, but if you drop it, you're probably going to want the blue or the orange so you can see it. But they come in some cool colors. But the Streamlight Wedge, great gift item, again, in that $100 range right there. All right, number three, One we haven't talked about in the last couple of years, but one that is of note. The Stanley Classic Vacuum Bottle. The often forgot about historical bottle for the hunter in you. Most folks like me, if you go duck hunting like I did this past couple weeks ago, I had coffee with me, and my coffee was in a thermos. Not a Stanley, but my buddy with me, he had a Stanley. Stanley's probably one of the unbeatables. They will always hold something hot. You put hot water in it before you put the coffee in, and that coffee will be hot 8 hours later, which is great if you're going out in the morning at 3 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock you still got hot coffee in later that morning. So Stanley Classic Vacuum Bottle. Now the Stanley bottles, you know, they've been around for a long time, but they are not that expensive. Looking those up right here, $35 at Walmart. For the legendary Classic Vacuum Bottle, $35 at Walmart. Easy to find. Ace Hardware, $45. A great item for any hunter that likes to have something warm. So great item there, low price. Number 4, and we always come to this at some point in this list each year, but a good 3-pack of socks. Now here we go with socks, and I'm going to be specific, a 3-pack of merino wool socks. The merino wool socks, I looked this up actually, continues to be in the top 10 gift items for sportsmen across the country because they allow your feet to sweat, but your feet don't get wet. So those merino socks, 3-pack, around $30, $30 to $40, depending on what size and style you get, but a very nice item, merino wool. LL Bean has them for like $45 for a 2-pack. But you can get 3 packs for as little as $30. Merino wool socks. Great item for any hunter you have because probably most of them have a hole in their sock somewhere and it's time to get a new pair of socks. But merino is good wool and provides a lot of warmth when it gets cold, especially if we have a white Christmas feel.
Not happening. Not happening.
Well, it could. You just never know. All right. All right, here's number 5, a good quality beanie. Phil, you know what a beanie is?
I do know what a beanie is, yes.
Beanie's a cover for your head. There's some real good quality out ones. So here's a fun fact. For those that want to get your loved one or a sportsman in your life a really nice name brand gift, that name brand like Sitka, KUIU, or Drake, a lot of times you're going, I can't afford Sitka or KUIU. You probably can't with the jacket. I can't hardly afford it. Real nice equipment. But Sitka makes the beanie for $30. Drake has a beanie for $35, and KUIU has one for $39 in a variety of camouflage patterns. Great item. The beanie, something people often forget about. We wear, a ball cap all the time, but when it gets cold, that beanie sure helps. And the Sitka model covers your ears very nicely. They're kind of curved to cover your ear, and they're made of some really, really warm material. So much like that Sitka duck oven jacket, it's really high expensive, but really warm. The Sitka beanie, great gift item, stocking stuffer for $30. And that's number 5. So number 6 tonight, one I always come up with, repeat year after year, is a rangefinder. Most folks forget about the rangefinder when they're deer hunting. They don't think about it. But a lot of people are getting into, as we've talked about many times on the show, into long-distance deer hunting. So the rangefinder is a popular item for folks who want to know exactly what the distance is to where that deer is, or maybe where that hole in the woods where deer come out, so you can set your rifle to the right distance on your scope. If you've got the ability with a loophole scope, we have that the conversion system on top, the dial that you can set, which the CDC dial, great item there with a loophole. They provide that dial. If you send them the round you're using, they'll send you a dial to match that round. And if you have a good pair, you're going to have that pair of rangefinders to know that distance so you can know what to set the dial at. But a rangefinder, again, you can find them as cheap as $100. You can go up to $250, $275 for a real nice pair. Loophole makes some really good ones. There's some other good ones out there, other brands as well. Loophole probably has the name on that one, probably the best. But those would be a good little pocket stuffer there. Rangefinder, a little more expensive, but a nice item nonetheless. Number 7. Here's a new one in the modern world.
All right.
One of the things that you can always give a sportsman is a pack of hand warmers. Those hot hands are always great. You can find them at Walmart in the line on the side there. Those little pocket hot hands you shake up. They got charcoal in them. You shake them up and they get warm. Well, now they have a rechargeable hand warmer. That's right. Rechargeable with a USB cord. They have a pair of hot hands rechargeable for $35, or the Gobi Heat, which is one big pad, for $39. These are rechargeable hand warmers. Something new to think about this year for your stocking stuffer, a pair of rechargeable hand warmers. I have not checked them out, but I'm going to because it sounds like a pretty cool idea.
I like it.
Number 8. Here's one I haven't brought up in a long time. I don't know if I've ever put this on the list, but it's something that I've always had in my life. The Gerber multi-tool, or the simple Leatherman. That multi-tool is a great item because it has the knife, pair of pliers. It has flathead screwdriver. It has your hex head. It's got a bunch of different things on that to allow you. Some of them have a saw on it, so you could saw a limb if you're in the stand. But the Gerber multi-tool or your Leatherman, great item, so that you have, again, a lot of things in one little small package you can put in your pocket or in a little case on your belt. But the Gerber multi-tool Leatherman, those aren't that expensive. Are again around $35. And it's a really easy item to buy somebody because you don't get much cheaper. I mean, again, you get them down for around $30. You can get them as expensive as $60. I'm looking at them right now. The standard old Leatherman was $50. That's the old classic. And it has, again, everything on it: pocket knife, grooming tools, multi-tool, all these things, screwdrivers. So great item for any sportsman in your life, Gerber multi-tool or the Leatherman. Number 9, almost to the end, the Thermacell. We talk about it a lot early deer season in South Carolina. Hard to get through a deer season without mosquitoes, even at this time of year. No telling what you might run into before the end of the year. We might get 70-degree weather.
Mosquitoes this time of year?
Yeah. I've had mosquitoes come out in the end of December when it gets warm again. You get a good warm week, they come back out.
Oh.
Thermacell. But for most of the deer season in South Carolina, especially in the low country, most of us are used to having some type of Thermacell. That's that device you cut on, you put near you, and it doesn't really scare deer away, and it does keep mosquitoes off of you. Great item in the stand, in the low country, in the wet areas and lowlands of South Carolina. Thermacell comes with a nice holder and some refill packs for about $30. The other thing, if you know your loved one has a Thermacell already, get them another one. I keep one in my turkey vest and one in my bag to go deer hunting. And then again, you need one when somebody comes with you and they forget theirs. Always a great item to have. When people come to hunt with you and they forget their Thermacell, great to have an extra one. Again, $30, great stocking stuffer, great last minute gift item that's not that expensive. Again, they also make Thermacell refills. If you want to give them something that you already know they got a Thermacell, they got enough of them, get a pack of the refills. Those are around $30 as well for a bunch of refills that have the liquid gas in them, the propane, the propellant in it, and basically your insecticide on those little tablets, little felt tabs that go the refills for your Thermacell. So that's number 9.
All right.
And to round out our top 10 for tonight, number 10 for tonight is a good pair of warm rubber boots.
There you go.
You can't go without adding the boots to the list. The Muck boot, around $169. Lacrosse has them for $115, and Drake for $129. I even looked up the prices this time to make sure everybody knew what kind of price point we're looking at. So if you're in the $100 range, you can get boots, you can get boots and a flashlight, binoculars even. If you're in the $30 range, you can get a vacuum bottle from Stanley. You can get a 3-pack of merino wool socks. You can get a good quality beanie. You can get possibly a Gerber multi-tool or Leatherman if you find the cheaper versions. You can find those. A rechargeable hand warmer for $35. So that $30 range, a lot of those gift items on that list are in the $30 to $40 range. Great items to fill up the stocking, last-minute gift items. But the pair of boots, always a favorite because here's the thing. They don't last forever. Those rubber boots may last 2-3 years, maybe 4 years, and you need another pair. Again, remember, Lacrosse does have a rubber boot that is snake proof for those that hunt turkey season or hunt early deer season in the lower part of this state. Those snake boots are a must, and they're only about $125, and you can find those at your local Bass Pro, Cabela's, or even local hardware stores.
All right, now, quick question. The snake boots. So are you saying that the snake can't penetrate the boot?
That's correct. On top of the leather is a layer of Kevlar material or similar material that is snake proof, that the snake cannot penetrate. It's wrapped around the rubber. It's a great combination item because not only are they waterproof, they're also snake proof. And in the southern part of this state, in the low country, if you're hunting swamps, great item to have is a tall boot that is snake proof.
How high up the leg does it come?
It comes up above mid-calf, just below the knee.
Okay. I'm thinking about a bodysuit. How about a bodysuit like that?
Well, you can buy chaps. I mean, chaps are always an option as well. Chaps go all the way up, just like a pair of cowboy chaps. But they make snake chaps like that. A lot of coon hunters wear the chaps when they hunt during the warmer seasons.
Okay.
But the chaps do work. Those are out there. You can get those. I'm trying to remember the Henry's, the brand I always remember on those.
Have you ever had a snake come at you and bite into your boot or your chaps?
I have never had a snake actually strike and hit me. I've had a snake strike at me and had a near miss, but never had one bite my foot or leg. If that had happened, I would probably tell you there'd be a little accident following. I'll go ahead and admit that. That would probably scare the out of me, no doubt.
What was your reaction when that snake lunged at you?
I jumped about 10 feet. It felt like 10 feet. It was probably only like 3 feet.
Yeah.
But I jumped. And he kind of rolled across the air. He kind of airballed it next to me. Didn't hit me.
Was it a moccasin?
It was. That's most often what people see in the swamps. And moccasins, because of their temperament, they just don't move. You'll step near them. Sometimes they strike. Now, they aren't the most striking, as striking as some, but copperheads are probably the most, as we talked to Will, if you remember, a good friend, Will Dillman, talked to us about herp snakes for a little bit, and copperheads are probably the most nippy, he said.
Yeah.
Past that, you got, rattlesnakes and moccasins. Moccasins generally will show those fangs. They'll show that mouth and flash. But they generally don't strike. Now, if you get too close, they will. And these boots, I'm talking about lacrosse snake boots, pull on, are nice and inexpensive for what they save you the trouble of.
Absolutely.
And again, Muck Boot has the really nice Muck Boot that goes up into the $200 range, but they are extremely, extremely warm, of the woodland size, and those are really warm boots, and I love those. And I had a pair, and they finally cracked apart because all rubber eventually, hot, cold, eventually it cracks, and you got to get a new boot. That's just kind of the way it goes. But that's our top 10.
Awesome.
Not in any particular order, list for your Christmas loved one that's an outdoorsman or woman.
Now, let me ask you this. This is a number one. So say you're shopping for somebody. Let's do this for a child. Let's say we're talking about a child who wants to begin his or her journey in the outdoors.
Sure.
Has not been an outdoors child yet, but now wants to become a hunter or fisherman or just wants to enjoy the outdoors, but has nothing. This is brand new, first step. What do you recommend, like numero uno? What's the first thing someone should have?
So the first thing to help them feel like they're a part of a hunting community is to buy them some camouflage. That's easy. You can buy that for a toddler that's walking out with you, or or a young person that's 4 or 5 that wants to go sit in the dove field with dad or mom. I don't want everyone to just say dads, because you can't assume that, because there's plenty of ladies out there that like to dove hunt. So bring the young person out there, give them some camouflage so they can feel a part of that.
All right.
The other thing I will say for young people is give them some type of hearing protection so that the noise of the gun, which is loud, look, for folks that haven't been around that first gun blast can really be scary. So give them some good hearing protection, whether it's a nice full headset, or because generally with young people it's hard to get them a set of earplugs that fits in their ear. So go ahead and get a set of earmuffs, camouflage, whatever, to put on them. I see so many people do that at football games anyway for young toddlers, but do that in the dove field as well, so that noise, that big bang, doesn't scare them, because you don't want them to have a bad experience the first time. Like you said, Phil, they hadn't been a part of it. All it takes is one bad experience, and they may not want to go back out again. And if you put those the earmuffs on,
Sure.
it can protect their ears, and they don't get that real loud bang. It scares them.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. We got about 30 seconds if you want to wish everybody a happy holidays.
We're going to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And one more gift item out there. If you have a loved one, especially a youngster that wants to hunt, that loves hunting, and that's their passion, if you haven't bought this already, grandparents, dads, moms, buy them a lifetime hunting license from SCDNR. Before they're age 2, $200. Before age 16, it's $400. It's $300, $400, and then $500 after they're 16.
That's a great gift, a gift that will keep on giving for a lifetime. Major, happy holidays. Thank you for being with us. We look forward to 2026. Major Billy Downer from DNR, SC Wild. That's Sports Talk. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.